I witnessed, recorded, and produced these videotapes of the Washington, D.C. hearing. Their authenticity is above question.
This is produced as part of the ongoing work on the website, thewaythetruthandthelife.net.
This is a hearing about the government licensing the electrocution of people to cause grand mal seizures. Think of the millions of dollars, taxpayers' money, spent to pay psychiatrists and their supporters and for the worldwide travel in putting this conference together, while the victims and opponents had to pay their own way.
Oh, I don't know what kind.
I'd like to just ask you a few questions.
Fire away.
And what is your name?
Leonard Roy Frank.
And where are you from, Leonard?
San Francisco.
And what brings you here to Washington today?
Well, there's an Electroshock Consensus Conference, and we're here to protest the fact that the entire conference is pretty loaded in favor of pro-ECT.
Pro-ECT, what's that?
Electroshock.
Uh-huh.
And we've also been given the opportunity to, in some limited degree, to present our views on electroshock, which are very much at variance with the prevailing view, not only at this conference, but throughout the country.
Well, just briefly, have you ever personally experienced this type of treatment?
Well, I had electroshock in combination with insulin coma treatment back in 1963.
And at home now, are you engaged in any organizations that have to do with this subject matter?
Right. I'm involved with the Network Against Psychiatric Assault in Berkeley, California, and also Madness Network News, which publishes a journal, the longest-standing journal in the psychiatric inmates liberation movement. We've been publishing regularly since 1972. I've been involved.
Do you have any idea of how many listings there are on the... Oh, pardon me.
You're interrupting.
I've
been involved in Madness Network News since its second issue, which came out, I think it was in the fall of 1972.
Now, are you the same person that published a book on the history of electroshock?
Yes, in 1978 I edited and self-published for the history of shock treatment.
I've seen a copy of the book. Now, could you just, for the sake of anyone that would watch this, to get some idea of the scope, Leonard, do you have any rough idea on what the number of people that are on the mailing list of Madness Network?
Madness publishes about 2,500 copies per issue, and our mailing list, I believe, is around 1,400. And,
is this a state?
Mailing address for people who might be interested.
Yes, I would like that.
Getting a subscription. It's Box 684, San Francisco 94101.
Box 684, San Francisco, and what's the zip code?
94101.
94101.
Right, and the subscription rate is $14 a year, and for...
How many copies?
It's 6 issues.
6 issues.
Actually, I should say it's $14 for 6 issues, but you might not get 6 issues over the course of a year. We usually publish about 3 issues a year. So that would run about a 2-year period. I
see. Now, would you characterize the readership as a local city group, state?
No, it's more like an international reading.
You have subscribers in a number of countries?
You bet. In England, in Holland, in Iceland, in Australia. We have quite a wide geographical cross-section, yes. But most of the people are in the United States. A lot of subscribers from Canada as well.
Now, Don, who I spoke to a little bit earlier, mentioned a referendum in California to stop shock. Was the Madness Network involved?
The Madness Network was a part of a coalition of organizations that were fighting electroshock in the city of Berkeley, and what we did was put a referendum on the ballot that made electroshock a misdemeanor in the city of Berkeley, and it in effect prescribed the use of electroshock under penalty of 6 months in jail and or a $500 fine.
Well,
and the voters of Berkeley, when they had the chance to vote on this issue, they chose by a margin of 61 to 39 percentages against the use of electroshock in their community.
I
was following a very, very intensive educational campaign between our organization, which is the Coalition to Stop Electroshock, and the American Psychiatric Association, which joined this battle once they saw that it was perhaps detrimental to their interest in pursuing the use and continuing the use of electroshock.
Well, from a previous interview, it's my understanding now that the American Psychiatric Association has been able to get an injunction against that referendum passed in Berkeley, and it's now in the courts. Is that correct?
Right. There was a judgment issued against the electroshock ban, and the matter is now on appeal in the state of California, and we expect to have some kind of ruling on that from the higher court within the next 3 to 5 months.
Well, now if someone wanted to contribute to these educational efforts, is that something also that to the same address, donations for the effort to stop shock
right, it's the coalition,
would be welcomed?
The Coalition to Stop Electroshock is accepting contributions, and they can be used very, very well because we're involved in a very intense legal battle right now, and our funding is short, so if people are interested in supporting that effort, they can do so by sending a check to the Coalition to Stop Electroshock, and they can do that in care of Madness Network News.
So the same
for San Francisco 94101.
Oh, pardon me, I interrupted you again. That was the same address
as Madness
Network News, but to the Coalition to Stop Shock. Would you say that?
The check should be made out to the Coalition to Stop Electroshock, care of Madness Network News.
One electroshock treatment can equal the energy of 3 pistol shots to the head.
Dr. Rose accepted 2 pieces of literature for reference. I would hope you might make copies available for the panel. We're talking about having a police factor information on a device and what we're using. And the one copy is the Thymatron, the brochure on a single sheet handout on the Thymatron pulse ECT device. And in there it shows the physical characteristics. I've also included a current Winchester ammunition catalog because it shows the energy with which the bullets have. But running this machine at its maximum brings 201 joules of energy. That is 148 foot-pounds. If you're interested in actually understanding like the truth in lending and what they're talking about, 1 joule is 0.07376 foot-pounds. But what this means is this device, when operated at its maximum capacity, will lift a 1 pound weight 148.7 feet. The energy contained in that is equivalent to 3 25 caliber pistol slugs. Now that is just pure effective data. To give that lifting of 1 pound energy equivalence in informed consent, how could you not do that? And if you're going to give a procedure, the total energy and the total time are the physical parameters that characterize the device. How could you not include that information? And if a doctor prescribes a drug, he has to record the prescription. Why isn't the total time and the total energy recorded? This has been an experimental hazardous device for years now. Why hasn't this information been gathered that we could be talking with concrete objective facts rather than subjective opinions of psychiatrists and patients?
One electroshock treatment can equal the energy of 3 pistol shots to the head.
All right, out with your gun. Huh? Out with your gun.
Okay, this won't hurt. It'll be over in just a moment.
Uh-huh. What's that?
Conductant.
Oh, dabble, do you? Right, Mr. Jackson?
Open your mouth.
What's that?
This will keep you from biting your tongue.
Well?
Now just bite down on it.
Oh.
That's right. Just bite down.
Huh?
Now bite down on it.
Good. Are you ready?
Ready.
Here we go.